we're gonna have to act like I'm the host because you will be on my YouTube channel. So
Yeah.
hello everybody and welcome to this interview. Today I have invited, and in a way she has invited me in this Zoom recording, Michèle Duquet. Now she is a very powerful being, a really high vibrational being from what I have seen from her YouTube videos especially. And today we want to share knowledge and perspectives about the spiritual awakening maybe, and about the spiritual process, and how we actually integrate ourselves in this process. What is our experience? What is the beautiful side? What is the dark side? Everything. So Michèle, why don't you say hello and introduce yourself?
Well, hello, I'm Michèle Duquet, and I don't know if I can live up to that fabulous introduction, but I will try.
Was it too much? I think it
No,
was
it
pretty
was
simple
great,
actually. I tried to
lovely.
keep it simple.
Yeah. Well, the thing that really spoke to me the most is when you talked about the integration, which I think that is the most important and challenging part of the whole spiritual awakening, is integrating it into our human life. And so
Yeah.
it's, you know, the whole spiritual awakening is your consciousness expands and expands. But then my point is, I have had so much experience on the energetic realms that if I don't bring this into my body, into my human experience, then I'm wasting the opportunity that I have as to why I came here.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like we live in the, if we go to much higher dimensional, it's like we start living in the la la land, you know, and
Yes.
many people may not get you. And it's also in my experience that I feel that I have to simplify the process. I have to simplify my words in a way,
Yeah.
because not everybody is maybe aware, and not everybody is compatible to this higher dimensional stuff that we try to bring into the world. So we also must find ways that we can actually generalize and simplify the knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, which is where I think my experience is helpful, because I had to figure out how to do everything on my own, because it happened. I was so young. I was 8 years old, and for 2 years,
Mm.
the energetic beings and were teaching me, and I would leave my body and experience multidimensional realities, and then come back. But what happened was, back then there was no internet, there were no books really written about this that I had access to. So I really had to self-teach how to bring all of this
Wow.
information and energy in a way that would help humanity, human beings. Um,
Wow.
because we come here as big, 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 big souls, but we have a very defined perception. Each one of us is here for our unique perception, our unique views.
Wow. Wow.
And as if we can find a way to bring in all of that high vibrational energy into our everyday life, we can actually live as human beings what we came here to do, which was, I mean, I believe, to thrive, to
Try.
feel incredibly joyful and happy and um, interconnected with other human beings, other minds, other souls, and nature and animals, all of that. Like, that's kind of, we're designed for that, but we've lost our way, you know?
I've read the book. I didn't read the whole book. It was The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've read, he said that spiritual awakening is our most net state. Now, do you think that everybody on the planet, in some sort of way, is going through a spiritual awakening?
No, no,
Okay.
not everyone. It's some spiritual awakening are spontaneous and were pre-planned before we were born. Some
Yeah.
souls have certain events, crisis that really opens up their consciousness.
Yeah.
Others come here to never have that experience, to really experience a perception where there is no wider consciousness. And
I
that
see.
is of equal, absolute equal value as everything else. Every
Of
single
course.
perception is of equal value. And for these spiritual awakening souls, there's a great purpose in being around people who are not awakened and don't want to awaken and want to live in the, the
A lower
boundaries,
density. Yeah. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
of
Yeah.
their reality. It's all in divine planning. I mean, really, I learn as much from them as they learn from me.
Of course.
I've learned so much from being around others. All those years that I had to teach myself how to integrate everything, I learned so much from those who had the finite boundaries, because
Wow.
I needed to learn how to have finite boundaries. My awakening was infinite, so I experienced infinity, source, pull, completely exploded into infinite consciousness. And my learning was, well, really, where are the boundaries and how to kind of live within those boundaries, and then create a space where I could just leave that boundary and be in infinite space and energy. But then if I have to, come back and enjoy, being a human
Yeah.
being, interacting with other human beings and having a good time. And
And being normal,
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
Now, my further question would be, we could focus this interview to be like spiritual awakening based or more like human based. What do you prefer? Or both? Because I realize that not everybody that is watching my videos may be into the spiritual awakening
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think
So,
there isn't one without the other. Um, uh, the,
so yeah, there is,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. So my further question would be, you spoke about integration,
Mhm.
and I realized that sometimes I feel inspirational, I feel inspired, but I have some days where I don't feel that grounded, maybe. Now, I would ask you, what are some ways in which I could actually ground my energy and balance myself in such a way that I can actually be constant in my actions, my words, my feelings?
Well, I would ask you, and whoever's watching and wanting to ground, um, like, I think, first of all, that's the precursor to everything. The fact that you are asking that question and wanting to
Mm,
ground is amazing. You're quite advanced in your spiritual awakening, because a lot of people don't want to ground.
yeah.
It feels so good to be just out there. It just feels amazing. And yeah, it's like, no, don't bother me with that earthly stuff. I want to stay in the stars, And the fact that you're asking that means that you know how to do it already. And because already you know the difference between being grounded and being more in the energetic
Air.
realms.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right now maybe a challenge, because one of the great ways to ground is to take a walk in nature.
I actually did that today.
Did you?
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I feel that after my awakening, I have had some rough moments. I'm sure that you're familiarized with the term dark night of the soul. Now, my dark night of the soul was pretty rough. It was pretty rough. And after that, I found myself like in between zones. Like, I knew that I had my awakening. I knew that something has shifted inside my consciousness. But at the same time, after the dark night, I also felt dragged back to my old life. So it's like I was in between zones. I knew that, okay, the higher self is trying to connect to me. He might also test me with this in between zone stuff, but I didn't really know how to connect to that higher self again. But I realized that I had to trust.
Mhm.
So tell me, what did you do in your own process in order to keep trusting, even if it was hard?
Hmm. You know, it's interesting because I did have an ability to kind of adapt to whatever situation I was in. So, um, you know, I could go out and be with friends and have very mundane kind of social situation and not even worry, not even think about the whole spiritual connection. But I think that was part of a privilege that I was living through because um, no one else was talking about that. It wasn't part of the world consciousness the way it is now. So I was afforded my privacy with it. So I kept it private, very private and
Oh,
very internal. And then I shared with maybe two people, you know, what I was going through.
your experience, yeah.
Yeah, and also because you know, I'm an actress, so it was easy to just be an artist and have a job I love and have a life that I loved, and I could easily focus on that and be there fully on a movie set. When you're filming, the camera, when the camera's rolling, there's a presence. You're incredibly present. So at the same time, I was learning about being present in my moment to moment. You know, acting is about moment to moment
Oh,
and
mhm.
real interaction, um, and through that process, I was really learning how to be present in my life. Um,
Wow.
but I think that was the challenge of it all, is just really how to be present, and open and really absorbing everything that was happening in the moment. That's part of definitely how I learned to integrate. And being fully present is both grounding and is a way to bring in your soul, your higher perspective into the present moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What would you recommend for people that are actually starting to get curious about the spiritual stuff, like higher dimensions, higher self, how they can actually start?
Meditating.
Meditating? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I also realized that I can gather all the information in the world. I could go at any event. I could meet all kind of people. But if my internal world is not happy and is not right,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
all of that is useful
Well, it's a
to
journey.
realize. Yeah.
It's It's a journey that really it's an age-old ancient wisdom story of the longest journey is from your head to your heart. So really,
Yeah.
like the process of spiritual awakening is the process of really opening the heart, and
mm,
it's that simple but that hard, because that involves loving yourself too, which is really
wow.
hard for humans to do.
Loving yourself.
Yeah. I sound like I'm an alien. It's really hard for humans to
Maybe I
do.
wanna. I was curious. I'm curious about the age experience of the spiritual awakening. I'm wondering, what do you think triggered that actually?
Sorry, what did you ask me?
You said that you had a very early spiritual awakening, like in your early age.
Yeah.
I was wondering, what do you think that triggered your spiritual awakening?
Um, well, I had spent many years before. So I was 8 years old, but from an early age, I was kind of curious about infinity. I didn't understand. To me, it
Mm,
just,
wow.
yeah, it seemed like a impossible concept and a frightening concept, terrorizing concept. I didn't want.
There is a high chance for it to be that way, infinity. Wow.
Yeah,
Especially if it is related to creativity and to what the mind can do. Like
yeah,
if you are starting to want to perceive infinity, it can get scary actually.
yeah,
But go
and
on. Go on.
yeah, yeah, and it was it haunted me. It really haunted me because I was grasping the impossibility of it. And so one night, at 8 years old, I had been obsessing about this concept and kind of trying to stop thinking about it. I was kind of like, stop. I don't want to think about this. I don't want to think about this. And then I went to bed and I went to bed early because I had a terrible, terrible, terrible headache. Almost, I must have been a mic. It was awful. I felt horrible. And so I went to sleep, and then I woke up, and that was my first astral projection experience. My body started,
Wow.
vibrating, and then the sound gets very strong in the ears, and then it goes faster and faster and faster, and then phew, the body leaves. The spirit
Wow.
leaves the body. Um, and that was so that was the first time I was experiencing that, but I think I was already priming myself by being unable to stop obsessing about infinity and the concept of infinity. So something had triggered me way earlier to think about things that children don't think about.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, and then early, even when I was 4 or 5, um, I already didn't understand other kids. I thought they were very immature. I was like, why are they worrying about that stuff? It's just so, I don't get it.
Well, there's a high chance after having an out-of-body experience at 8 years old
Yeah.
that you don't understand other kids. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, yeah,
I see what you're saying. I see
yeah.
what you're saying. Now, after my awakening, I felt actually everything was different. Even my eyesight, even how I perceive the world, everything.
Hmm.
And right now, after a hard moment where I'm actually consciousness, where I'm actually getting more intuitive, but I'm also wondering, what is the soul purpose? What is my soul purpose?
Mm.
And the question is it even related to external stuff, situation, events? What is the soul purpose in your opinion, Michelle?
Um, that's a big question, and it's completely different for every single person.
Yeah.
So when I had that experience, um, I knew that I was going to help others. I knew there was a huge destiny involved in that experience. Um, but I had to wait for the world to become more conscious to, be able to help people, because I mean, if somebody doesn't, somebody
Oh,
doesn't want this information, like, who cares? I can give it and they'll go, phew, yeah, right. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
You know, um, so I did have a sense of strong destiny. I had a sense of absolutely, I am here for a very important uh, reason. And then over time, as the decades went by, um, I realized that, you know, my sole purpose was just to be in the present
Happy.
moment, and yeah, and offer my authentic perception and perspective to one person I'm talking to whoever I'm with. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, not everybody needs this type of information. Not
no,
everybody needs this type of information.
yeah.
Even if it's really high vibrational, even if it can alter your consciousness, even if it can shift your perspective in a total way.
Mhm.
But I guess not everybody needs this information.
Right. Now,
And I think that you even have a video about it. But how do we actually still connect with people that don't really resonate with us? I mean, how do we actually get understood by people that are not that spiritual?
well, the way that I've done it is by just being really fully accepting of myself and comfortable in my own skin and very grounded. Um, the thing that I'd say is unsettling for those who are not into this spiritual awakening journey is a sense that um, you're not grounded. So if I'm talking to someone and I'll say something like, well, let's say, let's pick a topic. Somebody's talking
Higher
about
dimensions.
higher. I'm thinking something really mundane. Somebody's talking about, oh, this person is doing this and that, and she's terrible, and she's this and she's that. And my perception I can bring to the table is, well, something like, I could say something like, I'm really sorry that you're feeling this way. Um, but it's my perception that it takes, an interaction between two people to create that kind of situation. Is there something in you that you're not happy with in this moment?
Exactly.
That, so it's simple, brought down to earth in human terms. I don't have to talk about the spiritual awakening, but I do not hide or keep it secret either, because it's been my experience that out of the blue, someone will call me or email me or have a private conversation saying, this happened. What do you think's going on? Are you picking up on anything? Like, what should I be focusing on? And I'll be completely surprised at the conversation that takes place. Why? Because I've put myself out there. I've,
Mm.
I've never hidden the fact that, not now, I used to, but the fact that I am in touch with this energetic realms, and if they need me, I'm here. And it's quite amazing who will privately share things that they're not ready to share, with other friends. So I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that serves a good, purpose in that way. I wanted to say something before about another soul purpose that I felt. So when this event happened, the first one when I was 8 years old and I experienced infinity, um, I felt that I opened up my channel.
Ener- Energy field. Yeah.
Yeah. I opened up my channel to allow that energy and to allow more energy to come into the planet to assist at the higher consciousness and the awakening of the planet. And so that is what I did for years and years and years in my meditation, is I would bring in more energy and more light, because that
Wow.
experience I had in the astral plane was so powerful that I felt at 8 years old, I felt that my instrument. Sorry if you hear my dog, she's she's
It's okay. It's okay.
sneezing
I
and barking.
salute.
Okay.
Hello, dog.
She my what I call my body, so my physical body became an instrument that was electrically able to handle so much energy that
Mm,
I without stating it, without entering into this is my soul mission, I would just do it automatically in meditation, and kind of like become a vortex to bring in more energy. So yeah, I just wanted to point out that sometimes your soul purpose comes in as something different than what you think it would look like.
wow.
It could be as simple as one person knowing that when they meditate, they are assisting to co-create a better world, and that's it. That could be their sole purpose. Many people are highly spiritually awakened um, in secret. They just go about their everyday,
Wow.
they're
Nice.
nurses,
Nice.
and
Nice.
yeah, many angels, like right now, nurses and doctors in this difficult time that we're in, um, are secret little angels.
Yeah. I also felt like after I had my awakening, uh, I was like ego tripping about telling everybody about it.
Yeah, that happens.
There's a high chance that that happens actually, and you don't get understood. You're called crazy, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there is
Um,
a spiritual ego that everyone has to be careful of. It's a
yeah.
part of the awakening journey. Um, the ego that says, well, I vibrate at a higher frequency than this person,
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
and
And I think it happens out of separation, and that way you suffer because you are trying to put your higher vibrational perspective on someone else.
yeah,
And for if you're going through an awakening, guys, you feel free to also, you can share your experience, but feel free to also keep it for yourself, because
yeah.
yeah.
That's I love
Now,
that. I love you hit the nail on the head about, you know, the difference between oneness and separation. And yeah, that's right. It's the ego will always separate. So, I'm more spiritual than you are. Well, no, you're not, because you're just
I'm so
separate.
spiritual.
Which is
I'm so 5D.
yeah, I'm fine.
I'm 5D, man. You're
But
3D.
also the most, for me, the most spiritual person in any room is the one who's the most loving. That's it.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. For sure. For sure. For sure. Now, in my, again, again, in my spiritual awakening, I have been faced with darkness. And again, some of this darkness was related to separation. And in a way, I had to deal with my anger. It may have come from a past life. At the same time, I feel that always being positive may be a bit toxic. So, what would you recommend for me in this situation? Because
Mhm.
I feel like there is also time to be authentic, maybe, but I have a hard time doing that because I felt I resisted that for so long.
Yeah, anger's a
Now, I'm not saying that I want to be angry. I'm saying that there may also be a time to be angry and authentic.
um there is no one emotion that is better than the other. They're
Okay.
all emotions are beautiful. All
Mhm.
emotions are beautiful. Rage, anger, sadness, joy, happiness. Um, but the thing about anger, that was a lot of my inner work, had to do with subconscious anger and rage. So when the anger comes up, a way to look at it is just rejoicing and celebrating the fact that it's coming to your consciousness, and then that is coming from your subconscious. So by embracing it and by really feeling it, not necessarily acting out on it, but just feeling it and loving it, it's a way to heal it. And it means you're ready to heal all the things that you're not conscious of. The subconscious is running the show. And as you spiritually awakening, as that you bring in light into the darkness, light comes into darkness of the soul, because the light brings out the shadow. As you see your shadow, if you can celebrate and love that you're actually seeing it, it's no longer running your life in your subconscious, you're seeing it. Fantastic. Embracing it and really feeling it. There's on my channel, I've got, there's a video I did on dark night of the soul, and there's also a few videos on how to deal with emotion through an energy vortex. So there's definitely things you can do, and especially for a woman, anger is a very difficult emotion. And I had some very, abusive things when I was a child that I could shove into my subconscious and just, and when I, had my dark night of the soul, quite a few, I had about 4. It was always like an onion. Oh, okay, peel this of this, layer of anger, and then another layer. Oh, and there it is again. Oh my God, now we're getting to the good stuff. Because the spiritual awakening is about embracing love and unconditional love, it was a process of learning how to unconditionally love everything about me, not just the happy part. And the irony is that by healing and healing and healing and healing, it's like I'm like a really joyful person. But I don't reject anger if it comes up. I still embrace it, because of course it's going to come up. I don't expect to be positive. Positivity is also an ego-driven kind of perspective. It's impossible to be always positive no matter what. But what
it is,
but what happens to me is I am a very optimistic, positive person, because I work through things very quickly.
Nice. So I guess the more emotional balanced you are, the happier you are.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what has inspired you into creating your YouTube channel?
I answered the call. I was asked to by the energies.
By the woo. By the woo.
Yeah, by the woo. Okay, it's time. It's time. Well, I wrote a book about my childhood experiences and how I integrated it into my my body and my life 7 years ago. It's still not published, but I'm getting there. And in order to help more people, I thought, well, I'm so comfortable in front of the camera. I've been in front of the camera my whole life, and I'm now living my most authentic life I've ever been. I'm out there. Everybody knows. Everybody's been incredibly accepting and loving of everything that I'm doing. And then one day, it's like, okay, just put a video on. I'm like, okay. And
okay, let's do that.
And I came up with the name, you know, of my channel, Michèle Duquet, Soulful and Unplugged, in about 3 seconds. I'm like, well, I guess I should have a name for my channel. What am I going to call it? Soulful and Unplugged. Okay, I'm going to make this video with my friend about MRIs, and I did this silly interview, and I put it on, and then I thought, oh, well, I'm just going to keep doing it and see what comes up.
You actually liked it. Yeah. Yeah. I also was so curious about spiritual information.
Mm.
And I realized I kept read about it, kept experiencing stuff. Now it's time to create a YouTube channel, man. Even though I was again, in that period of in-between zones when I started to create my YouTube channel, and some of my first videos are like really bad, but I respected myself in such a way that I kept doing it, and now I see that, okay, I may not have all the subscribers in the world and may not have all the views, but I actually like this stuff, and it actually raised my vibration in such a way that I can start integrated all kind of things
Yeah.
now. So it's like creativity is a good gateway to higher vibrations.
Yeah, that's true. Plus, for me, what's important is also that souls from all over the world have videos out there talking about their spiritual awakening journey. It's a global event. You're in Romania, I'm in Canada. The 2 interviews I did before with Jamie he's in England, and
Yeah.
then Felipe is in Utah. Now he's in Spain. I mean,
Yep. It's a
and
global event.
it's a global event, and the experiences are so similar, they can't be ignored. And it is, you know, hopefully becoming the new normal, which I
Mm,
think it's a very
yeah.
normal
Yeah.
process. And um, you know, it's a solitary journey, but you don't have to be completely alone with it. Information is out there to help people um, see that, okay, it's going to get better. Yes, I go through this, but it's going to get better. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
It's hard. It's really hard sometimes. It was for me at least. But in a way, I always trusted the process. Okay, the girls are wanting to say hello
Hi.
or
Hi there.
okay. I always trusted in a way, even if sometimes I acted in a such unconscious way.
Yeah.
Now, the next question is a bit rougher from the La La Land,
Mm.
and is, have you experienced being influenced by entities in a positive or negative way?
Influenced by, I know what you're talking about. So unfortunately, I'm not the person to talk about this because I was always protected from that. I have for some
Oh,
reason, a protective shield in a way. So I know that I've seen it. I've seen people have entities, dark entities, feeding off
yeah.
of them. And what I do have is a connection to all the energetic realms. And but because my first experience of infinity was of the terrorizing side of infinity. It was horrific, awful, the highest terror anyone could possibly imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Infinity. It's hard to describe. I try in my book to describe it. But that, because I came back from it sane, I didn't go insane from that first experience at 8 years old. I've had a protective shield ever since, and dark entities cannot touch me. It's just because I've been
Mm-hmm.
darker than that. Where I went was so terrorizing and horrific that they have no influence on me. So, but they do exist. I see them at work. They feed off fear. They really, really feed off fear. And all that does is prevent people from shifting consciousness or moving from that fear vibration to another vibration. So, uh, I mean, basically, the way through it, which actually I did a video on the message for, I think it was March 15th, energetic reading message, energetic update, how to move from fear vibration to
Yeah.
out of fear vibration is to actually love the fear. There's
Wow.
no way other than I'm fearful. I'm loving that I'm experiencing fear because I know that I am healing fear in this moment. So those darker entities that are feeding off of your inability to be unblocked from that locked fear will go find someone else. They will move away because
Oh.
you begin to love that fear as an opportunity to heal it, seeing that it came from your subconscious. And
Mm,
your shadow is coming because there's light on it now. And as you put a light on your own fear, then the darker entities of that vibration will go somewhere else.
I see. I see. Wow. What should I ask you? What do you have something to ask me actually?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay.
I'm curious about how your awakening happened.
Who now, yeah. Let me tell you the story. May have also been caused after a breakup. I was like really in love with a girl. We broke up. Actually, I broke up in a way with her. And now I regret this actually. I was like really manipulative at that age. I was like 16, I was a kid. But then I realized that I had some patterns that were ego based, and maybe she didn't deserve that. At the same time, I loved her a lot. Like so far, yeah, I loved her a lot. And after that, when I was 18 years old, I used to feel like weird, like having a lot of thoughts, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I was like ego tripping, but what I realized afterwards was the fact that when you have all these thoughts, something is trying to clear out of yourself, something is trying to come up to the surface. So I had like ups and downs of emotions. I had like emotional roller coaster for 20 minutes. I was like super happy, then 15 minutes of panic and fear. And I even started to take meds, pills,
Mm-hmm.
because I went to the psychiatrist and he said, "Oh, okay, you need these pills if you're not feeling okay." But after that, I realized it was actually a spiritual awakening, and actually my heart chakra was opening. Now, the first year of the spiritual awakening is like the best experience ever. I was really nature based. I was going each day into nature. I was taking care of my body, everything, that Kundalini energy rising from my body and making me feel bliss. That was a powerful experience.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how my awakening has happened. It was a really powerful experience. But then after that, dark night of the soul hit me. I was even hospitalized. The journey, it was complicated. It was a rough experience. And now I feel that I'm recalibrating from that dark night of the soul. I realized that the dark night and the period between that was actually a big lesson for me. I have learned a lot about myself. I have learned a lot about my darkness, my fears. I have risen my consciousness in such a way that right now, where I am right now, I feel that I'm expanding each day. I'm feeling grateful for life. And one question that I'm wondering is, what is my soul purpose?
Mhm.
You know? So this is my awakening story. We could go into
Yeah.
deeper details, but this is my awakening story. So I think it was caused by that breakup. And like you said, I may have even programmed it before I came into this life.
Yeah, usually what propels the spiritual awakening is a crisis.
Yeah.
So that definitely makes sense. And as I'm listening to you, what I'm what I'm getting is just without that process of bliss going into dark night of the soul, you would not be as strong a soul as you are now.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
gave you a lot of inner
It did.
strength. Yeah.
It did.
Hmm.
I may have not seen him while being in the crisis. I didn't really know at it right now. It was as powerful as the first period of the awakening,
Hmm.
only in a more negative way, maybe, but it was a huge lesson. And now, where I'm finding myself right now, I'm learning to be more patient. I'm learning to accept myself more, and I'm finding ways in which I create my own reality. I'm finding ways in which I express myself. I'm super grateful.
Yeah, and you have so much to offer others who are going through the what you went through.
Yeah.
Offer them hope that it does get better, because while you're in it, as you're saying, you can't see that
Hmm.
it's part it's part of the awakening process. And if it does take a lot of the stress and anxiety and weight of it off if someone can be somehow shown that it's part of the awakening process.
Exactly.
um,
Exactly.
yeah.
And it's like the universe works in such ways that you will get the perfect information, you will get the perfect event,
Yeah.
and you will actually have the power to go through it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
Anything else that you want to speak about?
Um,
If you have something that you want to share with the viewers, like, I don't know, something that you think about right now, or I don't know.
mm, well, I mean, we are going through an extraordinary time, um,
Yeah.
and that this time of self-isolation or quarantine or lockout or whatever it's called, lockdown. um,
Lockdown.
yeah, it's it's an unbelievably challenging time, but it's also a great opportunity to face ourselves
Yeah.
and face our shadows and face see the reflection, the reflection of who we really are is right here. It's right in our face,
Yeah.
and it is an opportunity to heal, to evolve, to create a greater consciousness, and it's also, yes, hang on, she's hungry. I think it's also creating, it is shifting the consciousness of the world, because it's a great equalizer and it's a great reset button. And we see that someone in China is in their four walls, like someone in California or South America. It's the
Yeah,
same.
we're all one. We're all one.
Yeah. Yeah. So in some small way, remember that it is, you know, this view of everyone being in their own house fighting the same virus is a way to open the consciousness to our oneness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And many people through this period of what is happening right now may actually have a big chance to actually experience spiritual awakenings.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you. Anything else, actually?
No,
I guess
that's
this is
good.
it. I guess this is it. I guess. Thank you, Michelle, for the amazing interview.
Thank you so
Uh,
much.
you have a great message to share. I'm gonna place the link of your YouTube channel down in the description below. And thank you for the amazing message. Keep doing the great work. Keep
You
being
too.
awesome.
Thank
And
you.
thank you. Thank you. I realize that the more I transcend these negative emotions, the more I'm more complete, and I also have to accept them.
Yeah.
So keep accepting yourself, keep being yourself. And guys, thank you for watching this. If you have any questions, please comment them down below. And like always, see you on whatever is coming up next. Thank you, Michelle.
Bye. Thank you.